Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we're just going to talk about a little bit of a thing I accomplished this weekend. This weekend I was, as I'm sure you just saw, I was somehow the winner of the Indianapolis regional championship. I won my ticket to Worlds, both figuratively and literally, right? Like they're gonna pay for my. I won the travel award by placing first, and then as well, obviously qualifying for Worlds 2022 in London, UK. So really looking forward to that. Should be very exciting. But before we get into any of those details and start covering the matches from day number one. Just a few people I want to thank. Obviously, I want to first off by thanking my fiance, Cindy, who is a tremendous battler and will be competing in Vancouver. So for those that are also battling in Vancouver, you're gonna have to watch out because she's a very formidable battler. But she was extremely supportive in me and helping during my preparation as well, believing in me even though I didn't really like my chances that much going to the tournament, considering there was many phenomenal battlers. Also like to thank Leandro, who's a very prominent and dominant battler out of EU. He's the one that helped me build a team, also helped me devise some strategies in order to execute the team, and I really appreciate his insights and time. And for me, I strongly believe that almost all players need coaches, and for myself, I've had a coach pretty much my entire time during my competitive battling experience. First off, it was Wild Susan Boyle, who helped me prepare for many of my most challenging and toughest tournaments, and getting his insights has been always very brilliant. And then I turned to Leandro, someone that I trust and really respect his skills and team building, and as well his patience to work with me, especially with someone who hadn't done competitive battling in quite a while. Also, like to thank Pete, also known as Scrap and Pete, one of my closest friends when it comes, not I was gonna say in Pokemon Go, but just in general, a really nice and phenomenal individual. He was extremely supportive of me, helping me plan my trip to get to Indianapolis. As well, he was more than willing to help wake up early on both days so that we could walk over, just because I've been like working out and exercising in the morning, and instead of taking an Uber or driving over. And he was also very supportive and encouraging, and did anything possible to help me win. I certainly wouldn't be able to win without him. Also like to thank my scrim partners, Dragon Silk, Math Magic, and Mario Masters, among other people that also supported me. Also, shout out to Go Stadium, JR Honda in particular, for ensuring that the tournament was run as smoothly as possible, and as well communicating our feedback. But before we get into the battles, I also want to talk about like my mindset going into this tournament. So for me, I've done a lot of battling. I've viewed a lot of battles. I shoutcast a lot of battles and do a lot of GBL. But for me, I haven't done a competitive tournament since March 2020, which is over 2 years. And at that point in time, I won the Monterey Battle Tower, hosted by 7-Eleven down in Mexico. And for me, that was like the peak of my skill set. That's like when I felt most comfortable, be able to read teams and play in the show six pick three format. And I felt pretty confident in myself going up against anyone at that point in time. But it's been a very long time, over 2 years since I battled. And to help prepare for this tournament, I participated in Inadequates, one of his open Great League tournaments. If you're looking to get some practice and certainly someone that you want to check out, follow on Twitter, follow on Twitch, and to be honest, I felt really uncomfortable. Right, I utilized a Mind Jokes team. And the team is very solid. I also had one wrong moveset on one of my Pokemon, but I felt really uncomfortable in the format, and I got my butt handed to me by Scaffold in the first round, and lost to Sceptile in a very very close match. But I was clearly outplayed, and I was very uncomfortable in certainly I think I could win a game versus like not most players, like a good chunk of players, but I didn't feel confident in my ability to beat the very top tier battlers when it comes to the show six pick three format. In addition, I was really busy finalizing my classes. I had two new classes, or not two new classes. I had two classes. I had to prepare for the spring semester. One was online, one was in person, and the anxiety of going back and teaching in person and making sure everything works, and I'm following all the right protocols and whatnot, and as well I had a busy consulting job that I had to work. So I really didn't get very much time to prep until like the Wednesday. And the first day I practiced with the team that I built, I got absolutely destroyed by Dragon Silk. I think I lost like 16 of 17 games that we scrimmed, and as well I played GBL that first day, first time I had played in 8-9 days, and I just felt really uncomfortable in the counts, and everything just felt really off. And so I was, for me, I was going to be very content with going 2 wins, 2 losses. If I got 2 wins, I was going to be content. I was going to be happy by getting 3 wins, 2 losses. Um, and I would be disappointed if I only won one game and lost twice. Um, and as well, and this is not to harp on these content creators, but or anyone. I think for people that are very competitive, and I know I have a lot of supportive fans and people in my life, and I'm very appreciative of it. But I think amongst the most competitive people, especially when it comes to Sylph or some other formats, they don't necessarily. Cindy phrased this correctly. They don't necessarily view me as a threat. They don't view necessarily. They obviously respect or understand the things I accomplished in the past, but it's been 2 years since I've done competitive battling. I haven't done factions, I haven't done Sylph, I haven't done many draft tournaments and whatnot, and I've showcased a ton of them and covered a lot of them, but it's different when you apply it in practice. And we're just gonna play these videos again. We'll play the Tho one first, and I think this really captures the sentiment that a lot of really elite battlers feel about me. So let's go ahead and go back here. And again, this is not to harp on Tho, but this is just a good sound clip.
Hey King, King's a little washed, Hey King.
And this is him like talking about like the bracket, and obviously for myself, I felt very much the same way. Like I think still understand the game and understand the mechanics, but it's different when you have to like put it into practice. And as well as I watch a lot of Rise to the Occasion. Also, I promised though I would show this as well, but he did say that I was going to win it all, and this is actually before even day one finished. So he did have faith and confidence in me, but he's right. Like I hadn't done a lot of competitive battling the last 2 years, and it's difficult to turn that on. And I experienced that when I did the practice and was preparing for Great League. But this other video, again, I love Rise. Don't get me wrong, big fan of his content. But I was watching one of his videos, and this is around ADL, for example. So, all right, as an example of what are you saying here? So this is ADL finals, and it was me and Wholesome showcasting, and when he said this, it really resonated with me. So this is obviously from like 4 or 5 months ago. So let's go ahead and play the clip. Nope.
But yeah, even King, who has done more so content than competitive gameplay, like I consider him one of the most knowledgeable and one of the best battlers in the community. And like even him and Wholesome, who's always
yeah, so like obviously Rise, and he clarified when I asked for permission from both these individuals regarding using those clips. And he's right. Like, I've been focusing more on content, streaming, covering different teams and whatnot, covering drafts rather than playing myself. So, and he prefaced as well that that I was doing content instead of competitive, but he still feels like that I'm a very strong battler and whatnot, and he said that this win still has me as a go, which I do think people are overreacting towards my win. I do think Aries and Aries win in EUIC was one. First off, didn't drop a single set. It was, and as well, arguably had a more difficult run to cap the championship, and is obviously much more skilled than me. So I do think my win is being like a little bit over celebrated, but I do appreciate everyone's feedback and support in regards to that. So going to this, I did feel like I was one of these, like, washed competitors. Like, I still know the game. I still battle pretty often, do a lot of GPL, see a lot of battles, but would I be able to have the psychology and the competitive mindset to, and I'm not even a competitive person in the first place, and to be able to perform well. And for me, I'm not too fussed about winning, and it would have been, obviously I'm very ecstatic to win, but I wasn't too hopeful about my chances. But before we go into the battle, sorry, I know this part right here is super long and super kind of dragged out, but let's go back to the browser, and if I take a look here, so. Oh, this is the wrong link over it. I'm like, just let me get my 2 losses and move on. So I was searching for my name. I couldn't find it initially. Then I did like the find function in the browser on my mobile app, on my mobile phone, I should say, on my cell phone, and I found that myself. I was actually in Group B. So I'm in Group B. Here's my first battle here, and I was like, okay, all right, let's take a look at the bracket, right? Let's Grace under Furo. Very competent and capable battler. This person actually played later on. Really strong battler, had a really good match. It's Goop, again, another really great battler. Abanoff, I consider like one on the Chicago Stars, which was the second most accomplished faction after EU Emperors. Very, very strong. Someone, if every time I cover someone's tournament, they seem to always battle Abanoff, and someone that's was very scary to battle. Shani Dialga ended up being a very strong person that went very far. Kevin, the Ontario self-regional champion, very strong. These two individuals I'm not too familiar with, but I'm sure they're very capable as well. Obviously, Doonbug, self world champion, was number one, first player to be number one on Silph, and number one in GBL at the same time. Rise, obviously everyone knows Rise, like a super accomplished battler, like one in the conversation with being the best of the best, right? Rotten Peanut, also someone that's very strong. And then Bubble Wrapper ended up going very far as well. And then we have Pranav and Party Marty, who I consider one of the most underrated battlers. Maybe not now, especially after a strong performance. And then there's as well like Dan the Man knocked out Rise. So there was this was like people viewed it as the group of death, right? Like, and I remember when going back and watching Rise's recap, not Rise, Tho's like watch party. He was like, "Oh, there's like 4 people here that could win it all," and then he's like, Doonbug and Pranav and Rise and etc. etc. And then he's like, "Oh, maybe 5 with Abanoff, and we might throw King in there, but also Kevin might win too, right?" So it was kind of a afterthought, and I was not very hopeful around my chances to be able to pick up any early wins. So I thought I was going to be sent to losers and maybe pick up some wins there, and then then eventually face one of these very competent battlers in the loser side, and then have my day end. So, but obviously the day turned differently. So we're gonna go ahead and start covering the battles that were covered on stream. The battle with Abinoff and Crucify, JD, extremely nice individual. Unfortunately, we're on the phones that they were provided. Not I couldn't get the recordings, but those were like two really really great matches. But we're gonna start off with the matchup versus Dijon and Party Marty. So I'm gonna pull up those videos, and we're gonna just react live to them. Okay, so we're here. We're in the first battle against people call him Spicy. Very very skilled battler. Very community person as well. And one of his favorite Pokemon, probably his favorite Pokemon, is Credilli, and he actually brought Credilli into this tournament. Credilli is a interesting Pokemon, but is not very good in the current format, in the current meta. Like where there's counter users, there's Registeel, even Walrein has a pretty consistent matchup against it. Again, I didn't really have, but I kudos to Spicy for bringing Credilli and somehow making it work, going all the way to winners semifinal. So, and this is my third match of the day, first one on stream. My team consists of Azumarill with Ice Beam, Play Rough, Registeel with Zap Cannon, Focus Blast, Medicham with Ice Punch, Psychic, Sableye standard moveset, and I have Shadow, Walrein, and then Trevenant with the standard moveset as well. And when I look at Spicy's team, I see Medicham, I see Talonflame, I see Walrein, I see Sableye, I see Skarmory, and I see Credilli. First off, there's two things. One, I see Sableye being really, really safe. Walrein does beat Sableye, but and Talonflame could certainly have a competitive matchup. But Sableye Safe Switch should be able to handle most things. Maybe the toughest counter switch would be Walrein, but everything else should be manageable if I do really need switch. And then as well, I see that Azumarill is really safe. I do have to be careful of the Credilli, but I have lots of threats for Credilli. I have Trevenant that has a good matchup against it. Walrein has a pretty consistent matchup with shields up. Registeel absolutely destroys it. Medicham destroys it. Sableye has a pretty good matchup as well. It's really only Azumarill, and even the Azumarill matchup, because I have Ice Beam, is not even, and the bubbles are neutral. It's not even that one-sided of a matchup. They need to land two moves, and the Ice Beams do a pretty good chunk of damage. So for me, I felt like Azu, Sableye, and then I led Azu first game. And I wanted to have the Medicham in case he like safe switched or whatever, and then having the Sableye was really strong. So, as well, I was a little bit hesitant to bring in Registeel just because Talonflame was also very strong against my team. It beats the Medicham in most cases, beats Trevenant, has a good matchup against Walrein, has a good matchup against Registeel as long as shields are up. Obviously, has to be careful of the Azumarill, which is likely to come in the matchup. So I was a little hesitant to bring Registeel instead of Medicham. But let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully the volume is not too loud. I'm going to play it with audio and pause it when I see fit, or talk a little bit some of my
mental gymnastics, and then you go into exactly what you were saying, the preparation, the thinking about.
I loved all the shoutcasters. They're absolutely incredible. This is Two Old Butters speaking, who's a very spicy trainer. So, and that's Speedius, Speedius Chief, Season 2 Silph World Champion, host of GBLA, co-founder of it, and a very nice individual as well. And the cool part here is that the phones were good on stage, and there as well, they were hardwired in, so they were connected through the Ethernet. So for me, that was the smoothest gameplay that I've had in a very long time.
Is still turn-based. The difference here is that a turn lasts just 1 second. So you have 1 second, 2 seconds, even sometimes a half a second to make a response. So the initial
Is turn? I thought turn was half a second. I could be wrong, but someone could
build up
let me
here
know.
is so critical for getting the right strategy in mind before the game even begins.
Yeah, and we've seen throughout the day these amazing catches. And as we're into this battle,
Okay, so I see the lead, right? This is obviously a positive lead for me. Actually, a Azumarill into Metacham, and the fact that he stayed in, I know he either has Talonflame in the back or Sableye. More likely Sableye, because Sableye is quite safe against my team. So my mindset here is that I do eventually want to switch, because I have Sableye as a good matchup, and then as well Metacham as a neutral matchup, obviously a mirror match. So my mindset here was I think I keep throwing bubbles until I see if I can get an extra bubble in, or kind of get those extra turns if he throws a psychic right away. But Spicy's a very good battler, so we'll see how this plays out.
it is going to be the Azumarill versus the Metacham, and this isn't the worst case scenario.
Also, shout out to our RVP for cutting these battles from the stream and giving me the files. So again, thank you very much for that.
Because Metacham is decent against the Azumarill.
Absolutely, Metacham able
And
to reach level
so you notice
50 in
there,
the Great League. Metacham able to
Azumarill.
so he I'm not sure, he actually didn't throw the,
Metacham.
oh, he didn't, he threw on at 9, it looked like it threw at 9, so I was actually able to get the extra bubble in, so I snuck in the bubble, which is very fortunate for me.
able to reach level 50 in the Great League, just
So the
like
psychic
Azumarill is. It
doesn't
have such
KO,
great stat
does
product in
pretty
this
good
matchup,
much.
even though the typings are not favorable.
Yeah, in the one shield matchup, it can do some.
And I was a little bit confused here. I thought I would get to the move before the Metacham, because I stuck the bubble in, but I must have miscounted or something. I'm not quite sure.
As we see the play rough straight away, not messing around, and this Metacham lets it go.
Metacham loses a lot of HP there from that charge move from the Azumarill, but it's going to look to strike again with another Psychic, and here we go.
And here I actually got well, I didn't have the move. Actually, I was a little bit confused here. Maybe I gotta review this matchup, because I think it's like 8-8. But he also overfarmed there, so that was a really nice play by him. I ended up throwing off my counts, but I actually got a refund here. Well, sometimes the move does, sometimes it doesn't. Because I was like, it would have been. I didn't get. Let's talk about this. I didn't get the desync CMB. Yeah, that's the probably more appropriate way of saying it. But some people could also say, in some cases, you would actually fire it off.
Oh
So
my goodness, this is actually the no shield here by King IV.
I should be able to survive this.
Gonna just try to get to this ice beam and probably throw it, because this is in a swap, banking that energy to use it more efficiently later, swapping, and now there's a swap.
So here I'm in pretty big trouble right now, because Shadow Walrein has a very good matchup against Sableye, and I know that there's Sableye in the back. So for my mindset, I need to either take some shields or do something, but I need to try to come out with some energy. So
In response to the Whale Rain.
King IV reaches for the Sableye. He gets there quickly.
So I didn't throw right away, even though Sableye does win CMP versus Walrein. I tried to get the extra move in, because Walrein does outpace Sableye. So I tried to come out every advantage I could.
And he's 2 Shadow Claws ahead. It looks like the Walrein's going to start to apply some pressure here with the Icicle Spear, and it does draw that first Protect Shield.
Yeah, and the Wall Rain is the Shadow variant, but the Sableye did get a little bit of energy advantage by swapping out earlier. So these foul plays are going to start adding up. We're going to see.
So I built up to the return, just to kind of put pressure, but he makes a really nice call here.
If the Jean is going to have to commit a Protect Shield or let it go, and just letting it go.
Whoa, Walrein down into the red now. Now you have to start thinking about the fast move pressure. Are the Shadow Claws going to come through? You can't shield.
At this point in time, I'm like, I know there's a Sableye. There's a 100% chance that there's a Sableye in the back. I have to farm down. I have to double shield, go down 0-2. And for me, there's some players that will say, I'll never go down 0-2. But for me, I don't play by any hard and fast rules. I play by like what I think are good principles, and sometimes when you're in a very tricky situation, you just gotta make it work somehow.
The Shadow Claws, and are they going to KO the Wall Ring before you get to another move? Here comes Icicle Spirit, drawing another shield,
And
Butters.
King IV really valuing the Sableye here. Gonna try to go for the farm down. And will it get it with the Shadow Claw? It just needs another Shadow Claw to get the wall ring down, and it does. Really.
And I just barely KO this wall ring. It was super fortunate there. The sneak at the beginning ended up actually paying off for me in the end, because I know, yeah, it was it was just very fortunate for me.
Really emphasizing the Sableye here. Got a lot of energy, but no Protect Shields remaining. 2 Protect Shields remaining.
Wow, look at this positioning, down 2 shields, but out comes the Sableye, now in a mirror.
Yeah, and I knew yeah, I knew there was going to be a Sableye back, so I'm going to try to throw foul plays there. So there's really a couple options here. One, I land a foul play, and then I put it low enough that Metachamp can eventually take it out, and I sack the Azu, or I throw both foul plays and then combo play.
Match, but there are significant differences here. 2 Protect Shields on the right side, no shields on the left, but an abundance of energy.
Yeah, and this is hard. You're gonna have to either soak up this energy or shield this energy, and it's gonna be so hard to farm down the Sableye. How are you gonna deal with the rest of this health of King IV's Sableye?
Now this is late game counting. This is knowing the pacing late in the match. Oh my goodness, a switch!
And I'm able to land the foul play rough. It was very risky there. Maybe I should have waited for the Shadow Claw to come through, then switch. But I decided to go for it.
Combo move, play rough incoming, super effective into the Sableye. It chokes it so hard. The Sableye is almost gone, but it's gonna get this farm down. It's gonna be able to farm down the Azumarill. This Medichamp's very healthy, but Sableye is gonna be coming in at a swap, trying to catch the move. Wasn't quite at it yet. Now the Sableye needs to get to a foul play to finish this matchup.
Sableye mirror, but look at this, the strike from King IV. This is gonna be enough to KO the Sableye with just 1 HP remaining. Wow.
What a
And it was certainly a game that I should have lost, because the Sableye was really strong on Spicy side, especially once my Azumarill went really low. In hindsight, maybe I should have shielded the in hindsight, maybe I should have just taken out the Metacham with Azumarill. Then they've come in probably. The thing is, if they come their own Sableye, then it's a little problematic for me. So it's hard to say. It turned out to be quite fortunate for me. So
matchup, King IV basically 2v3ing Azumarill and Sableye taking game number 1.
I did not
And again, Sableye Azu was really strong against team. So
see that play coming. It was not on my radar. It just flew under the radar until it happened. But
and for me, I thought it was unlikely that he would lead Metacham again, lead Metacham. So I decided that if he's not going to lead Metacham, then Walrein is pretty safe as a lead. And I thought Walrein was going to be pretty safe as a lead. So let's go ahead.
you know what? If there was one way you're going to escape, because that looked really, really bleak. You had a healthy Sableye with 2 shields, a Metacham that has a really
The headsets were fit really nicely, and as well, I have a huge head, so and as well, they had like noise canceling, like white noise, so you couldn't really hear anything.
Because most players are all familiar with these different matchups. You're familiar with the Metacham versus the Azumarill matchup, and he played out that 0 shield where he basically took out the Azumarill but banked a play rough for later. And that is such a smart decision to make in this stage here, because you've already done your damage, you've already won the Metacham matchup, and by banking that play rough, you're able to land it on the Sableye and almost sure up that matchup as well. What a way to turn around a neutral matchup into your favor.
And you know, when King made that switch out, I didn't really know what the strategy was, what the plan was, what he saw in Dijon the Jin's team composition that made him think that was a good play. But, you know, we got to see the dividends of that later. We head into the next match.
So this is a tricky 0 shield matchup, because the Grass Knot would do a tremendous amount, but
Cradily on the field versus the Shadow Walrein.
Yeah, it is the Cradily here, and this is a bad matchup. You see both Pokemon are doing super effective fast moves, but the Walrein is just going to get to these
I was fortunate to deny here. I thought it was actually going to be CMP, and I'm actually not sure who went CMP, but
Icicle
maybe it
Spear's
was
faster.
actually.
This is the Shadow Wall Rain. It's really going to force shields onto this Crawdilly.
I know, it's so exciting. You receive the super effective damage from that Icicle Spear.
Yeah, so now I know Walrein went CMP versus Dilly. So
Dilly is going to return fire here with the Grass Knot. Both of these charge attacks are super effective, so regardless, I think we're likely to see a shield from King Ivy.
Yeah.
So here, when I saw the Sableye come in, I knew likely the Sableye was going to say switch, which is why I had Adzu in the back. I tried to catch the foul play, but then he ended up getting. I got a refund the first game, and he ended up getting a refund on the second game. So
Did get the shield there and swapped into the Sableye. Gonna try to soak up this wall rain energy, but this and then swap trying to catch the foul play. Really big play by King there, but didn't throw it, and now just the returns are gonna be coming in.
Yeah, great counting there, trying to absorb that resisted charge attack, and here we see the return coming through. You already spent one protect shield, gotta save the second one for a rainy day.
Yeah, and at this point though, the Azumarill is getting close to return range. These Shadow Claws are just adding up, and the next return is.
I didn't want to take the foul play because I didn't want to get farmed down so easily. So I decided to throw. I could have did one more bubble, and it wouldn't have been a return. So
Gonna do a good amount of damage, and the Sableye is in play rough range. Doesn't commit a shield, does last second.
Dijon the Jin deciding to protect that Sableye. We've seen the play rough. It's devastating to the Dark and Ghost type, and now he's able to gather additional energy and throwing right
really nice farm by Spicy here.
before the Ice Beam. Look at the awareness here from our trainer on the right.
It's kind of crazy. As Sableye is up energy and shields, it can kind of handle this Azumarill because of the Shadow Claws and the return being so good. It's
So here, I feel like that Sableye is really safe. So as long as I have a little bit of energy on Walrein, I can potentially win this matchup with Sableye in the end.
such a good Pokemon. How are you going to deal with it? You're going to have to take it out with Icicle Spear if you are King IV.
Now, how does King respond here? Decides to come in with the wall rain. He does have a lot of energy banks, and he's actually going to throw the ice.
I could have farmed more here, but I just didn't want to lose track of energy and then end up getting hit by the foul play and lose CMP. So I decided to just do a few, then throw. And it was like probably 1 over at this point in time. So I thought 2 was really safe. If you end up being 2 over and then had like residual energy and was only 5 away, then it would have been too risky for me. So
Spear, I think this might just barely be enough due to that shadow bonus.
Yeah, the Shadow bonus doing 20% more. Last second shield. I can't believe
and he shields here, which is really good for me because I'm gonna just throw back to
that
back.
because there is another one available,
no!
and the Sableye is caught on it. Back to back by King IV to take out Dijon's Sableye.
Icicle Spear strikes again. Sableye gets KO'd. What incredible awareness there by King I.
So as soon as I saw this wall rain, I was like, okay, if he catches, I'm not too fussed. It'll be really nice if he kept track of. It'd be a really nice catch because the energy count is not so obvious. So, and that's why I didn't bother over farming. And as well, my wall rain probably would lose CMP because it has pretty good IVs. Though Spicy does grind a lot of shadows as well. So I didn't want to risk it. So I decided just to throw it. Like the wall rain has to throw into my wall rain anyway. So I didn't think it was like too big a risk, and he makes a really nice play here.
Throw the back-to-back. Here comes the wall rain. Now we're in the mirror match, but King IV's wall rain is very weak.
Yeah, Shadow V, Shadow Wall Rain. Oh my goodness, what a swap!
Look at these swaps catching the earthquake on the Credilli. Dijon the Jin is not done yet.
My goodness, that was neutral because of the typing, but does take.
And then here, good thing I don't actually switch. I thought about switching, but the wall ring was way too loaded. So I forced the wall ring to throw at me.
And now this is going to be Wall Rain versus Wall Rain once again, but there is a Sableye in the back. That was Dijon's only.
Debatably, could have threw Icicle Spear here. I would have just thrown the Icicle Spear at the wall rain at this point in time because I think I would have survived with like a few HP, and then look to land the foul play.
Chance going for the earthquake here, going for a lot of energy to take out a little bit of Wall Rain though.
The Icicle Spears are double resisted, so it doesn't seem like a good play to throw those. And now comes the Sableye. Now we have to come back down to reality. The Sableye does still have a shield. Walrein has to put in a lot of work in order to win this matchup.
Yeah, and the thing is,
It is a risky call by me. Obviously, the EQ would allow the wall rain to farm down, but I had to make a call somewhere. and I decided that this was the time.
Walrein is up on energy, but at this point, King can try to get to that return. Just has to get to that return before 2 more Icicle Spears come out. No, goes for the foul play, actually. Gonna try to go for foul play farm down?
I think the foul play plus Shadow Claw combination.
It would have been really close, right? It's like a 9. I think it's 9 Shadow Claws for the first return, and I figured like the foul play plus some Shadow Claws would be enough. Though it ended up being perhaps the better play that I would have went for the return, because if Spicy would have snuck in a Powder Snow, then would have been a little bit more challenging for me. So.
Might be enough. This is a Shadow Walrein, so it will take a lot of
I think it
damage.
ended up being
Look at
3
that,
Shadow
goes all the
Claws.
way down into the red.
1,
Dijon the
2,
He needs 2 moves.
3.
He's not gonna
Yeah.
get 'em.
Yeah, I think it would have been fine. Okay, so I think it would have been fine either way, even if he did end up sneaking, because then the Shadow Claw would have got through and KO'd anyway. So really good set for Spicy, and all respects to him for running Cradillion and doing quite well in the tournament. But for me, this one was a team comp advantage. I made a really nice call in the beginning to double shield my Sableye and come up with energy and bank the energy on Azumarill. So I felt pretty good after this match. But I knew who was going to face me in the winners final, and I watched Party Marty play Dunebug in round number 1, and I actually looked at Party Marty's team and I said, I really don't want to play this individual because the team comp was going to be really difficult for me, and as well, the team comp was going to be really difficult for me, and as well, Party Marty is absolutely exceptional battler. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, Party Marty, a very exceptional battler.
One thing to consider is that these battles, but we're moving
okay.
a little bit of
So we can see the teams. Oh, okay, I guess. Okay, okay. Well, we see the teams roughly. So, so Azu is very safe against Party Marty's team. Even the Defense Deoxys, Azu, even without Hydro Pump, can actually win the 1 shield and the 2 shield straight Ice Beam. Obviously, a little bit IV dependent. Here, I decided to bring Sableye just because I was really comfortable with it. But honestly, Trevenant made more sense. I just felt like Sableye has a better Skarmory matchup, has a better Umbreon matchup. And I really was afraid of Umbreon, and that kind of cost me on day number 2, which you'll see a little bit later. So obviously, this is absolutely the worst lead. My mindset is always to go into Azu, Safe Switch. It's a pretty strong Safe Switch versus Party Marty's team. So
we've had so many battles, but we're moving into game number 1, King versus Party Marty. We have the quick switch out here to the Azumarill now versus the Alolan Ninetales running Charm.
Yeah, so Charm taking its toll on.
And I'm not quite sure why he didn't switch out right away. I expected maybe he wanted to take a move. So I think maybe the more appropriate play here on Party Marty's side, because you don't really need that much health to be able to. Well, I guess the Shadow Claws are neutral. It's hard to say here. You can't just switch right into the Defense Deoxys because I'm going to win switch. And he knows that if I lead Sableye, I have Registeel in the back. So Party Marty wants to control switch absolutely at all costs. So I understand staying here and kind of put him in a tricky situation. So
On the Azumarill taking already about a third of its health before the Azumarill has
decide to shield because otherwise the play rough plus would put them into,
which results in a shield over on the side of Party Marty.
So this is interesting because
I get denied,
which
I know this doesn't KO, so
of the fairies.
I'm not too fussed
One thing
here.
that I'm sure King is trying to do is get his Registeel lined up versus this Alolan Ninetales, but no, Party Marty decides
Makes a
to
very
stay
nice
in.
catch.
Until just now, we have the Defense Deoxys coming
But
into the catch, able to catch the play rough.
At this point in time, my whole mindset is I want to get back to Sableye as soon as possible because this Ninetales is definitely in return range. So if I can get that return without having to burn a shield on Sableye, then I'll 2-0. Registeel beats absolutely everything on this team. Even the Swampert would be the absolute worst case scenario and would make this game really close. But yeah, I would be able to win this matchup, especially now that the defense. No, it didn't really matter what it was in the back. So 2-0, I was going to be in a very favorable situation.
No
So
need to shield this one, DeFi.
Absolutely not. Defense Deoxys, obviously known for its defense, can handle that play rough coming from the Azumarill. The counter damage not doing too much, but is slowly working away at that last little bit of Azumarill's health. Azumarill opting to throw a
And at this point in time, the clock is up, so I'm going to switch her right away.
Ice Beam here again. No need to shield on the Defense Deoxys.
I know.
Very aggressive farm down,
And I know that people were in the live stream chat were like, why would he switch in? Why would he lock in Sableye? I just have to, right? There's no other choice. I need to bait out the Ninetales. I need to get energy to be able to make it to the move, and as well not allow this Deoxys to get too much energy and potentially land 2 Thunderbolts on me.
See a quick swap out here into the Sableye. This defense Deoxys is still locked in. King able to get into the Sableye, having a very positive matchup. No problem taking this Thunderbolt. These trainers are wanting to preserve these attack shields, or these protect shields rather, but Sableye should be able to get this farm down before the defense Deoxys is able to make it to the Psycho Boost.
Right, so the Sableye exiting that matchup with a bunch of energy. So Sableye having to watch out for that Alolan Ninetales coming in. Party Marty watching that switch timer run down, and look at that charm damage onto the Sableye.
And,
It is
I'm able
just
to get to the move, which is exactly what I wanted, because this return would come very close to KOing at this
arms
health.
away from fainting.
So this is a huge call right here, because this Alolan Ninetales wants to preserve its HP, but what's in the back for it? It is the Registeel. All of this HP, all of this energy is going to serve not very well for Party Marty with King.
And I just wait the clock here because Party Marty's clock is up, and mine isn't. So, and plus I need a little bit of room to breathe in case I need to catch something from the Shadow Swampert. I believe he has Shadow Swampert in the back. And telling by the CB, it's probably a Shadow Swampert as well. So
having this absolute hard-walled steel type Registeel ready to absorb all of this energy. King even has an opportunity for a potential catch here as well, and we see the immediate swap out.
Right, so here it is, Sableye versus Registeel.
This game's
Looks like
basically
King is
over at this point in
attacking
time.
very quickly
Yeah.
onto that Zap Cannon, trying to debuff the Sableye a little bit and getting some of that damage.
This is looking good for King right now. Keep in mind, he has 2 Protect Shields remaining, whereas Party Marty has...
And then once you land the
lots
Zap
of
Cannon, you just need
energy
to Focus
on
Blast.
that Alolan Ninetales, but keep in mind, where's that
Focus
energy
Blast
going
is
to go? We see the shield
single
come out for
resisting.
King.
Yeah, because the Dark and
Alright,
Ghost
so this
goes
foul
double
play not
resisting.
going to land
And
on
then
the
obviously
Registeel.
perfect
The
against
Registeel
Dark.
already has, is working towards that Focus Blast and is just a
And I really like the play by Party Marty here, that it's 17 seconds to make it to 3 foul plays, 6, and 5, and it's 15 and a half to make it to the Zap Cannon plus Focus Blast, like 8 plus 7.5. So Party Marty didn't throw the foul play right away. Was hoping to sneak and I ended up denying, and then was hoping that maybe I would like charge move pause afterwards in order to be able to CMP tie. As you can see here, I'm only one turn away versus like 4 turns away, which is exactly how it should play out.
out there. It gains energy so fast with that fast move of Lock On.
Smart shields from King here, knowing that these foul plays are going to be the hardest hitting moves remaining in these matchups. Does not have to worry nearly as much about the charge moves coming from that.
Maybe potentially what I could here if I want to optimize a little bit more is I took the Shadow Claw damage anyways. I could have did one more lock on, and then the Focus Blast, the Shadow Claw would have registered. I would have got 5 more energy, but it doesn't really matter. I just don't want them to catch, right? So this
enough to feint the Sableye, and it's looking very good here for King.
Right, so here comes that
this
Alolan
A9
Ninetales.
is
It has a lot of
loaded,
energy,
and these
but
charms
like
are
you said,
doing a little bit of
Wilson,
damage.
It just has nowhere to go. These Weather Balls are not going to be doing very much damage to this Registeel. Even though Party Marty has 2 of them loaded up, it is not going to be nearly enough to feint the Registeel before it gets to the Focus Blast here.
Yeah, a lot of
So just for future reference, I'm sure Party Marty knows this as well. Psyshock actually does slightly more damage now than Weather Ball, because Weather Ball's base 55. So if you add stab to that, it's like less than 70, and Psyshock is base 70. So it would do like 1 or 2 more damage. So maybe would be enough, but at this point in time, I'm going to be able to kind of
on this Registeel able to tank it, no problem. We're going to see it far in the red, but Registeel does have the move. There's
Yeah,
no
it wouldn't
protection.
have made a
There's no
difference,
catches
so-
remaining for Party Marty. This is going to be the Focus Blast that takes out the Alolan Ninetales, and game number 1 going to King.
Congratulations, King, on this
I,
first battle.
I had a little bit of sigh relief because even being able to take one game, I was going to be proud of my performance versus Party Marty.
Has
But
to win another here in this matchup today.
DeFi, 2 shield Registeel. What can beat it?
so I noticed in the first round versus Doombug, maybe I'm recalling incorrectly, but there were times when Party Marty was not afraid of running double weak to pick your Pokemon. So like leading, in this case, like I thought he was gonna lead like A9 and then have Umbreon in the back because the I would likely have Sableye in the back. So
Don't know if
that was
there's
what my
much.
mindset. So that's why I read
It was just
Registeel
proven
again.
why it is such a meta monster right now. With access to that Zap Cannon, the longer that the matchup goes on, the better for that Registeel. Able to shield both of those foul plays from the Sableye. Not even able to get it down below 50% HP there. And then all you have left is to race to that last charge move versus that Alolan Ninetales. Party Marty going to have to go back to the drawing board and consider, where am I going to be using these shields moving forward? I have to watch out for that Registeel. And again, a big critical decision that he made there, shielding the return from King Sableye on his Alolan Ninetales, using that last Protect Shield, which again came down to not serve him very well in that back matchup versus the Reggie.
Right, and this is where some of those mind games come in. Is Party Marty going to try to be more prepared with this lineup for the Party Marty?
Speed up
Swampert now. On the right, once again thinking they're ready to move into game number 2, guys. Here we go. King on the left.
So this is a
Party
favorable
Marty on the
matchup for
right.
me.
Once again, the Registeel, this time into the Umbreon for Party Marty.
I do expect the
Right,
A9 in the
Umbreon
back.
Already at a foul play and a little bit extra, so is going to throw that right away. Registeel not needing to use any.
I don't want him to
shields here
catch.
for this first part of this battle because the foul plays are not going to be doing enough damage. Registeel going for that super effective Focus Blast.
We saw this earlier. This is going to do about maybe 6.
So I had Azu in the back, one as a safe switch, but I also expected a potential safe switch from Sableye. So like let A9 have like Deoxys or a Swampert in the back with Sableye safe switch, but so that's why I have Azu in the back.
Percent of the HP of this Umbreon, a very hard-hitting move from this Registeel, whereas these foul plays are adding up slowly, but not a big chunk like we see coming from the Reggie.
Right, Umbreon has a bunch of energy. The Snarl's doing some really good work there for energy generation. And Umbreon throwing this foul play almost at another one, but Umbreon has to watch out here for these Focus Blasts.
I didn't want to take the foul play, but maybe a debatably dumb move on my part.
So DeFi, one thing that King needs to consider is that his Registeel has had lots of play versus Party Marty's team. He hasn't seen...
So here, I'm going to instant swap. Honestly, though, I probably shouldn't instant swap to Sableye. I ended up going to Azu, hoping to draw out the A9. But yeah, that's
Party Marty's battles, but he's been bringing that Alolan 9.
you can see here I'm spamming Azu because I want
to swap out and preserve it for that back matchup. And you can see he's immediately swapping into that Azumarill, which has a lot of neutral matchups. But now Party Marty will be able to align his Alolan Ninetales to this Azumarill.
This is like an absolutely brilliant play by Party Marty. Actually decides to just fully sack the A9 and not even throw a move. So
But what that's going to lead to later on is that Registeel coming back in and being able to clean up.
Right, the Sableye no longer will have to worry about this Alolan Ninetales running Charm in the back because the Azumarill is going to take care of it, leaving Sableye a lot of runway.
Yeah, you're definitely see a clinic here from King for how to draw out Pokemon that are threats to other parts of your team later on. This is looking very favorable for him right now. Party Marty recognizing that
man, I
is
couldn't.
there, does not wanna hold on to
I actually could not believe that you decided to no shield the A9, but
that
it is what it is
Ninetales,
sometimes,
knowing
right?
that
So
energy will once again have a steel doorknob rather that it's going to have to go through. But the Sableye is now going
absolutely beautiful counting there, and I'm in a huge
to
pickle
be
right
the
now.
sole remaining Pokemon for Party Marty. Going to be able to knock out the Azumarill with the foul play.
Yes, so Azumarill faints here, and here comes that Registeel, probably one of King's MVPs for the day. Registeel.
I made such a huge calculation error. I thought I was going to survive and make it to the Focus Blast. Throw the Focus Blast, I can Shadow Claw down, make the Zap Cannon, and then obviously draw a shield. But it was a stupid play by me. I should shield here and then make it the Zap Cannon. The Sableye also overfarmed, so I wasn't sure if I was going to get outpaced. So, but huge calculation error on my side. I was a little bit taken back by the full sack on the A9. So Party Marty certainly got in my head in this matchup, and it was just an absolutely brilliant move on his side, especially once my Azu was gone. I have no Sableye answers, right? Like it was just ingenious on his side.
Almost up to that Zap Cannon, but not quite there. The Sableye is going to be able to throw a move first, so it throws the.
I do survive, but it was a dumb move on my part. If I Zap Cannon, then I draw shield and I straight I just double foul play.
Foul play and almost feints the Registeel, but not quite is able to swap out in. So King is able to swap into his own Sableye.
I get denied here, and as you can see, the pain in my eyes. I'm like, oh, I just made a huge mistake here.
He does have the energy advantage currently, but the HP advantage is going to King. King has the Registeel with 1 HP, unable to get to that charge move. Was really hoping to be able to get to a Focus Blast or maybe a Zap Cannon and debuff the attack stat of the opponent's Sableye, but now it is going to be a
and I
race
get
to the
denied
finish.
again.
Foul play after foul play coming out. This is Sableye on Sableye action. We're going to see King's next Protect Shield come up.
Maybe I should throw some foul plays here to just get the 1 HP damage, but I know this is game over.
Protect shield gone, King has no Protect Shields left. Party Marty still has
get denied 3 times in a row, which is so painful.
This is a situation where I think King may be regretting not shielding the Registeel. Getting one of the shields there, potentially debuffing the Pokemon, may have translated to a little bit more success, but Party Marty coming back.
Yeah, it was such a nice play by Party Marty, and just a stupid play on my side, right? Like this is like when you're like the best of the best, like you recognize that like your one Pokemon that is a check to yours is gonna be able to run free. And yeah, it was
putting it all on
dumb
the
side
back
on my
of
side.
Sableye, and Sableye able to carry him to victory.
Right, so we will be going into a decisive game 3. I found this best of 3.
All right,
You know what,
so in this matchup, I decided to basically run the very similar team with Azu, Reggie, and Sableye. Azu is going to be pretty neutral. If I can control switch, then I can get Reggie onto the A9. And if there's A9 in the front, then Sableye is going to be very strong in the back, except for an Umbreon. So, yeah.
I love game 3s. So I'm super excited to see this. We got to see a really interesting matchup there in game number 2. You can see King shaking his head once or twice. Thinks that potentially you may have made 1 or 2 mistakes in his book. We're going to see King try and clean that up in the decisive game number 3.
Right, and the mistakes that these battlers are making at this very high level of play are so minor. So these battlers really having to be precise in their strategies.
It was a big throw by me, but really, the nice play by Party Marty definitely got in my head on how I want to play it. So
he was using them towards the end in that Sableye matchup, but the challenge is that unable to farm down that Sableye due to its still 60-65% HP, a lot of bulk still left, but with that huge energy advantage that Party Marty had, able to get to that 3rd foul play much faster. King wasn't even going for the charge.
Also, in the previous one, I should have thrown the foul plays to stall the clock, and then maybe I could catch on Reggie. But it was going to be really tough.
It was his win condition in his book at that point was to get the farm down. Unfortunately, he was unable to do so. So we have not seen a lot of Pokemon here. They seem to be going with kind of the same combo here. King really favoring this Registeel. Party Marty really liking the Alolan Ninetales. We've seen it in previous games, and I think we might see it again in game number 3.
And that's really part of being a battler in Pokemon Go PvP is really knowing your Pokémon and Pokemon time again.
3. I'm looking forward to seeing potentially some of these Pokemon that we haven't seen just yet that have been left on the bench moving into the active status. We're getting into game number 3 here, DeFi. We have the Azumarill versus the Defense Deoxys. Once again, we are seeing the Registeel on the...
Okay, so a couple things go in my mind here. 1, I could win the 1 shield and 2 shield straight Ice Beam. I'm not going to throw first. I'm going to try to sneak a bubble in. And then as well, I'm going to try to evaluate when he likes to throw to see if it can pick up some clues. And then secondly, if he's leading DD, he's going to have Umbreon or A9 in the back, and then potentially Sableye. So I want to save this. I'm like, okay, do I want to win the one shield, or save this Azu? So I decided to play a feeler, get some intel on how he likes to play his DD versus Azu, and then go from there.
Side of King, however, no Alola Ninetales from Party Marty.
Right, so choosing to hide that again because...
So I evaluate here that he's very confident in his ability to deny. So I'm gonna predict that he's gonna try to sink in order to try to land the catch later and preserve this Azu.
That is something that the Registeel is looking for, but it is not going to find it. Taking a look, the defense Deoxys is throwing a Thunderbolt, which brings out a shield on the side of King.
Yeah, an interesting early shield. Azumarill known for its bulk and known for its...
And again, I'm going to go straight Ice Beam here. I feel it's the correct play. Maybe with the Sneak in the Bubble, then Play Rough would have been a little bit better, but I felt like this was the correct play.
Defense and HP stats for sure, but an early shield that we see from King wanting to preserve...
So I predict that he's going to throw an alignment, so I'm going to try to play the catch appropriately.
HP, perhaps thinking this Azumarill may have some play later on in the matchup.
Okay, and it definitely would. That Sableye and that Umbreon. Look at the catch!
Oh my.
Onto
Absolutely insane play to bring Reggie into a defense Deoxys, but I kind of have to.
this Registeel, absolutely phenomenal catch from King. Taking that Thunderbolt on the nose, or better yet, on those dots, and then bringing into the Sableye to counter.
I don't know that Registeel has a nose, but we're going to pretend like it does. Coming in with these...
Okay, so I must have got to lock it in on the switch, because definitely was trying to go for the CMP tie, and then ended up not getting the move off and getting a refund or not the desync CMP, however you want to categorize it.
From its mouth, maybe, right into the Sableye, and that will be debuffing. You see the attack fall one stage.
Right, so the Registeel going to be trying to continue to debuff. Sableye throwing a foul play, but Registeel can definitely tank this move. Sableye almost at another one though, and here's where the Registeel needs to start watching out.
Party Marty going to have to throw this energy. Nice counting from Party Marty.
And here, I thought, I just need the shield. I just need the shield. The Zap Cannon wouldn't KO here, but it would be pretty close, but definitely wouldn't KO, so I decided to just go for him. If they shield, I'm going to go one. I looked in chat afterwards. Someone said Sammy, one of my loyal viewers, said I should have combo played and play roughed it, which is probably the correct play. But I decided I'm predicting the A9 in the back. I'm just going to try to return the A9. So here I'm going to throw the Zap Cannon, pray for a shield, and then switch to Sableye and try to get some energy and return this A9.
Throwing the foul play just before King is able to reach the next charge move. Going to keep his Sableye very healthy, and King saying, you know what, I want to go ahead and protect this Reggie. Let's get to this next Zap Cannon. I'm going to go ahead and debuff you once again. This is a hard-hitting move. We'll do a lot of damage if this goes unshielded.
But no, Party Marty decides to invest this shield.
See, I could have combo played here because he couldn't get to the move, and then he
and it looks like we're seeing a switch
make an absolute beautiful play by saving the return.
here into the Umbreon.
All right, well, it shields down now, DeFi. There is nothing to block these attacks. This is going to be a hard-hitting return coming from the Sableye into the Umbreon. Umbreon, on the other hand, has a little bit less hard-hitting moves, but able to generate them very quickly with access to the Snarl fast move. You can see almost at 2 foul plays here. These hit for neutral on the Sableye.
They will, so we're going to take a look and see how much this foul play is going to hurt on the Sableye, taking it down to about half health. And those
I'm very confident in my ability to make it to this return, but getting denied there was really painful.
Have the second foul play coming into the Sableye, taking it down into the red.
All right, well, we mentioned King earlier, shielding up the Azumarill, wanting to save it for later in the match.
And then my Sableye IVs save me here.
King Sableye, 1 HP and a dream. This is going to do a lot of damage versus
I switch right away. I got to be aggressive here. I got to be aggressive.
Bringing in the Azumarill. Azumarill does not have to worry about any of the moves coming from Umbreon. Party Marty
So he actually transfers the bubble onto Sableye, which is really nice play here. That's why the animation looked really weird, because I didn't see the bubble because I got the bubble on the first move. And then the return here, I was like,
this is absolutely crazy. That is a ton of damage on that.
I got so confused here. I was like, what the heck is happening here?
Gets to the play rough. This will do a lot of super effective damage versus the Sableye. Will it be enough to take out?
And it is the Sableye faints. Party Marty choosing to
And here, I get an absolutely huge deny here. This deny ended up like winning me the game. Obviously, there's a lot of denies and sneaks throughout the game, and then that allowed me to KO the defense Deoxys. Otherwise, I would have to try to catch versus this Umbreon later.
Deoxys right as it gets to that Psycho Boost. That's got to be tough for Party Marty. This is such a close game. It's a race to the finish, and the Umbreon is able to get to the foul.
And I know this Umbreon doesn't have another move, so I'm very safe here.
It is resisted damage. However, it may be enough to feint the Azumarill. There's still that Registeel and lock
there it is.
Down.
And I'm able to take out the Umbreon. Some mistakes on my side, certainly in that game, but my mindset is like, I'm definitely in a disadvantage in this team of 3, and I just had to play as aggressively as possible, make some plays. Obviously, I could have, in hindsight, I should have just switched and play rough, and then I would have just won the game because I would have been able to well, I guess the Deoxys would have been able to make it a Psycho Boost, but I would have been able to put enough damage onto the Umbreon, then be able to double return the Umbreon and take it out. But yeah, it was a pleasure to battle Party Marty to end up winning Group B and moving on to day number 2. So I'm gonna leave it there because this video is already tremendously long. Yeah, let me know if you want to see day number 2. It was a roller coaster of emotions. This day turned out way better than I was expecting, and all respects to my opponents. They were absolutely phenomenal. So we're gonna leave it there. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.